Hello, everyone. Welcome to
Hello.
one more KTT Talks podcast. Today, a special edition. Say hello to the people, please.
Hello. How are you? Feeling good? Yes. Say from where you are seeing us, from which country, which city, and say to us, please. You need to communicate with us because we'll be happy and grateful for that. Also, you can share with somebody that you think is going to like to see this live. Hello, Sasha. I'm going to share also. We are sharing. And that's it. And write if you know who is the person that is going to be here live with us. Write on the comments if you know. Hello, Sasha. Hello, Rams. How are you?
Just trying here to fix the way to our guest to enter live. There was here some confusion between the schedule, the time zone. Caracas, Venezuela.
Oh, nice.
Las arepas y las
Que son
hallacas.
tan buenas.
Just
las
trying to
dos.
fix here with Mr. Eddy Vents, that is our dear guest today. Can you talk to the people a little bit the concept about the KTT Talks podcast?
Yes, here I'm just sharing here. I already shared. Here in the KTT podcast talks, we do some interviews to some people, interesting people, sharing with us their experiences. Usually they are students from the KTT. KTT means Kizomba Teachers Training. But there are some that are just colleagues. They didn't do the KTT, the Kizomba Teachers Training, but they teach Kizomba also like us. And for us, it's very interesting to share different points of views, different perspectives. Hello, Kati from Hamburg. You know. Hello, Sohun. Rafael.
So son is Patterson from Canada.
Okay, hello, Patterson. Long time that we don't see you. Don't say to me to speak, and then you look to me like, oh, you should speak better English. But I don't practice so much.
Hola, Rafa. ¿Qué tal todo? So, like Paula was saying, we create this podcast in order to share different perspectives about Kizomba learnings with the major objective to start teaching. Hola, Katia. ¿Cómo estamos? And every week we bring some guests that are students from the KTT program, the complete program, in order that they can share what is their background, what were the things.
Hello, Julie from Hungary.
What, Uruguay?
Oh, Uruguay. Sorry.
She lost the glasses. That's the why.
Oh my gosh, don't speak about that. I lost my glasses.
Eddy Vents is trying to enter now. And time by time, beside our dear students from the KTT, people from all over the world, more than 500 people already attend this training. And it's so interesting to listen different backgrounds and different objectives and goals for each one of them that attend the training. Some of them were already instructors. Eddy Vents is here. Others were already were trying to become teachers one day, and others, they didn't want to teach at all. They just want self-improvement. And time by time, we bring some guests, other fellow co-workers, professionals, instructors, like Albir, we had here, Felicien, also Curtis. And today we bring Eddy Vents, Mr. Eddy Vents, that I'll bring to the talk. Hello,
everybody.
How are you, my friend?
Good morning from my side.
Exactly. You are in which city you are? Tell us and to our audience.
Okay, so I live in Portugal. Joking. I live actually in West Coast of USA. The state is Oregon. which is above California, and the name of the city is Portland.
Okay.
Which many times when I go somewhere and I say Portland, people think that I'm still in Portugal.
That's a good state for pizza. At least I eat very often Oregon in pizza. Stupid comments, forget it. Stupidez.
No. Actually, Oregon, it's where you can find one of the. Portland is considered one of the best towns in America for food.
Oh, really?
Oh.
That's why you moved there.
Very good. Huh?
That's why you moved there.
Yeah.
We have here Katia Serrano telling you that he's missing you, sending you a lot of love to your side. So let's go directly to the juice. Like I was doing the introduction, KTT, it's Kizomba Teachers Training, a program that we have since 2013. And usually this podcast, we bring students from the program, but time by time we invite some guests, special guests that are also co-workers, professional, and usually that have also teachers training programs. So in a way that we can share some ideas here, understand what one training have, another training have, being able to share with the people that might have interest to invest in a training, also to hear and listen what are the different products that we have to offer, and mainly to show strength and how do you say, union between people that are working the same direction. Each one of us, we have our work, we have our business, but at the end of the day, we are working for the same, that is to make our community bigger and growing in the best way. And we know each other already for a long time.
Yeah.
Do you remember when we met for the first time? I think I remember you from Bolingo in UK. I think it was the first time that we met.
It was the first time we met. Me, you, and Paula, yeah. From Tevin.
Exactly.
Yes.
That time that Rico was still not speaking English, you were translating to him everything almost.
So this was in 2011 because most of people who doesn't know, Rick is my cousin, and I actually moved to England because of Rick. Because we started organizing parties. I started organizing parties in Musulu in 98, which was on Thursdays, and then it became Fridays because we were doing the university parties there. So me and Rico, we decided to do our own parties on Musulu on Thursdays, which was my first experience doing parties, which was the worst experience I could have. I don't know if you guys have been in Musulu. So they gave us to do parties, and we were only having like 20 people on Thursdays. So you can imagine, in 2 or 3 weeks, they were like, you know what, just forget it.
That is the place that come your name, Eddy Vents?
No. My name started in 2007. I was still living in Portugal. We used to do a party on Wednesdays in Chiado, me and Rico. It was actually at that time where we met Pechu, we met most of people from Kizomba. And when the first Africa Dancer opened, where Bruno and Mafalda won, Africa Dancer was already working with us because we are using the eliminations in Portugal, in Lisbon. One of them was in our night, and this is how we actually end up being connected with people from Africa Dancer. Okay. Meanwhile, we started doing the party 2007, 2008. And when I say parties, it was the first time we started doing parties for Portuguese people. Because before we are doing mainly for Paula people.
Yeah.
And Rico goes to England in 2008. And because Rico grew up with Miguel Monteiro. Miguel Monteiro, not the Portuguese, the guy from Guinea that lives in Germany. Yeah, so Rico goes to England, and Miguel Monteiro was already a salsa teacher. Rico comes back to Lisbon and say, cousin, we need to go to England because we can actually do parties there. And Miguel said that once we go there, he's gonna help us. And I was like, okay, we are not doing anything here. And at the time, I already had the mother of my daughter living there. So I was like, okay, I bought my ticket. So Rico, are you ready? Yeah, I'm ready. But do you have your ticket? No, I don't. 1 month before, are you ready? Yes, I am. Do you have your ticket? No. 1 week before, you ready? No. Then 2 days before, I came and said, you know what? I'm in love for this girl, and I don't really want to do anything now. So I'm gonna stay in Lisbon. So I ended up moving. And the first year, I got lucky because I started working as a DJ. Okay, DJ is a joke term we do. I was washing plates on the restaurant. So exactly. You know. So I start washing a restaurant, and the kitchen was only Portuguese people. Oh. So I'm telling them that I used to organize parties, and I just want to see how things work to start doing the sign. Meanwhile, Africa Dancer people, when they found out that I was going to England, they already introduced me to Marie Doyen.
Kizomba Teachers.
Yeah. So at this time, that moment, I met the Portuguese guy that was my chef in the kitchen. Say, you know what? I have a cousin, a nephew. She's a Portuguese. He just opened a pub. If you want, we can go there. And if you want to do parties, maybe you will be interested. I went there, and his cousin was Portuguese that had 2 partners, one Angolan and one guy from Guinea. And the guy from Guinea was the guy that actually had money. And when he asked me, so where are you from? I said, I'm from Guinea. Who is your father? I told him the name of my father. And it was actually my father that helped him to get Portuguese green card.
Damn. Oh. The world is like a bidet.
And then he was like, whoa, look, your father helped me a lot, blah, blah. So you can use my pub as long as you want. This is how I started.
So good, so good. But going a little bit backwards, so you already said that you are from Guinea. At what age? You born in Guinea-Bissau?
Yes, I was born in Guinea, lived in Guinea till 11. Moved to Portugal. Then live in Cape Verde when I was 16 to 18. And that's it.
And then you moved to the UK and then to the USA.
No.
Not
then I moved to France, and I work in Monaco for almost 2 years. And I'll go back to Portugal. And I said, I'm not going to leave Portugal anymore. Then I go to UK. And then I live in UK for 8 years. From UK, I moved to USA.
Good. And you are, how long are you in USA now?
6 years.
Oh my gosh.
Because I moved in 2015. We are in 2021. So November 2021, it'll be 6 years.
Damn. So let's go here to some subjects I think that will be quite interesting for the people. You assume this very often, and it's so good to see you're growing as a human being, because you were quite a troublemaker mainly in social media. But I think it was a path that you needed to spend, and you also made an important statement to be able to make some noise. So in somehow, maybe sometimes you didn't made it in the best way, but you made what you made, and it was important, including to the growing of our community. And in somehow, as far as I know, and I would like to listen your story in firsthand, you are in the middle of the discussion to give a new name to this new style that was being created, that was at the end Urban Kiz. Is this correct?
Yes.
You want to tell that?
Yeah, I did made a lot of noise, and like you said, it's a growing path. Today I should go back, and what I've been doing on Facebook, I go back to some of big posts, and I just delete them, like very quiet, no talking. And actually, before I do that, I do read, and I realize many times the meaning or the intention is actually good. It's just the deliver was wrong.
Yeah.
Okay. And I realized today that the deliver was actually could push more people than actually bring them to whatever cause I was doing. Everything I did with passion. It wasn't because I had this point or that point. It was anyway, like I said, I think it was a different era of my life, different age, different perspective. If you would tell me you would do all the same, no, definitely. But I would still defend many things I defend, if that makes sense.
Of course.
Not on the way I did it, but I would try to do things. About Urban Kiz. And that has everything to do with the fight I had and also why I stopped. Because in between, people create the idea that I am a Urban Kiz hater and all those things. When my fight at the time was always to give a different name to whatever they're doing. Because once you understand the dance, you understand that it's a natural evolution, okay? Which is actually not evolution, it's a mutation. And this is what people need to understand. If you understand a little bit of history, you understand that whatever happened in the Western world, it's always whatever dance that comes to Western world does not belong to Western world. What that Western world does, it recreate a copy of it, and then the copy of it is what become the Western way of dancing, and then the original become almost like it's still there, but it doesn't really flow. For three reasons that people don't understand. Most of Africans, what they listen is polyrhythmic. Most of Western, what they listen is monorhythmic. So there is no polyrhythmic music that will go and be successful in Europe, period. Okay? So in order to be successful, Europeans will need to always recreate their own version of their polyrhythmic, which is monorhythmic, which was actually at the time was created by the second generation of immigrants living in Europe. Nelson Freitas, Mika Mendes, and all those. What they created was a monorhythmic version of Kizomba, Ghetto Zouk. This is why people don't understand why people love more Ghetto Zouk. Is because it also has to do with how you can appreciate, what you can appreciate, and how you can actually read and dance it. For most of Western was like, oh, I can understand this music. Oh, I can actually dance this music. So this is why at the time it was very normal for 90% of instructors use monorhythmic, because they could break it down, they could explain to them, to their students, and they could appreciate us.
They were more used to the sonority.
Exactly. Very important. When I explain that, people tend to think it's about race. It's not about race, okay? There is a lot of African people that cannot listen, don't appreciate polyrhythmic. It has to do culturally what your ear is used to. Those Africans that are born and raised in Western, they have a natural tendency to appreciate monorhythmic. White people that are born and raised in Africa, they have a natural tendency to also appreciate polyrhythmic. And even in Europe, you do have people that grow up there that like polyrhythmic, and African that like only monorhythmic. So people, I hope people don't understand this as black and white, because there's nothing to do. It's culture is the environment where you are raised that's going to define normally what you like. Then there is another very important thing. Most of the way we appreciate the technicality of dance comes from hips down. The way Western appreciate technicality of dance does also has a lot of upper body. Okay, when I say upper body, yes, African dance, if you go to tribal dance, they do have upper body. But even the upper body movement is not from down to go up.
It's the opposite.
It's the opposite. So if you actually pay attention in ballet and tribal dance, you can find a lot of the same movement, it's just different type of energy. I actually did that. I had Carol making videos of ballet, and I had oops, forgot the name now. The she danced with Pechu, not Vanessa. She lives in France.
Graciette?
Zilda.
Oh, Zilda.
Zilda.
Okay, and you could see the movement. Zilda could replicate every movement that Carol would do, just in a different way.
Exactly.
So what happened? When you have dance like that, bachata, which was hips down most of the time, in order to be successful in Western, polyrhythm into monorhythmic, up down body into upper body, okay? And then they could replicate. Kizomba suffered the same mutation in order for Western to appreciate. And this is why I say I was always fighting to tell people, there is a mutation, it's not an evolution. And that mutation, it should not be seen as a wrong thing. It's a normal thing that happens. Because when you take a dance...
Sorry to interrupt you, because including it happened the same in the opposite.
This is what I was going to say.
Exactly.
It's, if you go deep in history, and I'm not talking about, oh, it happened in 60s or 70s or 40s. No. Portuguese people in Western arrived Africa only in 15th century, okay? My country, Guinea-Bissau, was created in 12th century. Before 15th century, there were no information of any partner dance in Africa, okay? Truly, if we go and see, Kizomba is a European dance that had to be reshaped, mutated in order to have our own identity, okay? And I did once an article where I could show people that basic 1, basic 2, and basic 3 is actually universal basic, universal partner basic. It's not basic in Kizomba. So when Urban Kiz still use basic 1, 2, and 3, it's not that they extracted from Kizomba, because Kizomba also extracted from something. If people pay attention, retrocesso is actually the movement that Angolans created to identify Kizomba. Obviously, it's some other movement, but if you pay attention, retrocesso become almost like the identity of Kizomba. But forró, samba da gafieira, tango, whatever you want, if you pay attention, you're always going to recognize basic 1, 2, and 3. And what they call virgula, rotation, 360 degree, always. Why? Because people need to understand that when European enslave and colonize, the colonizer, the colonized and the slaves, they weren't allowed to learn things. They couldn't read. It was forbidden to learn to read, to learn anything. So that was the moment that we also create the idea of visual. When you have the so-called house niggers, or people, the black people that used to work in Western people, the owner houses, they would see how they would play some guitar, and they would come out and they would recreate. And the dance was also a form of recreation. So everything that happened, dance is a circle. It came from Europe, go to Africa, mix with some few things in Africa, is reshaped there, it suffered mutation, musical and dance. Then it comes to Europe, it suffered the same mutation again. And you go to Kenya, and you go to Tanzania, and you go to South Africa, Urban Kiz is popular now. But you know what they're doing with Urban Kiz? They are taking it, the upper body, and they're giving it jinga again. So they're going to be reshaped there again. And
this is the natural law of Lavoisier. In nature, you don't lose nothing, you don't create nothing, you just transform it. And this is what is happening all the time.
Yes. So this is why I say, my way of delivering things, because I had the knowledge, but I didn't know how to explain to people why they were going. So I was going into almost an attacking way. This is wrong. You should do it. Fat this, fat that, and no. So this is why I say, delivery wasn't right, but I fought for the name. And fighting for the name was very funny. we were in Luxembourg, and we are supposed to have a meeting. That was really funny. We were all in the teacher's room, and I brought them almost for a meeting, and they were all there. I remember Albir opened the door and he see the meet and he tried to turn the back. I'm like, where you going? You come and you sit down here, like if I was his father. So we were there, we were talking, and I was explaining to them that the fight was very intense at the time because they were calling what they were doing Kizomba. And the clash would always keep there because the music was different, the body movement was different, and they would keep saying, but the basic, but we teach the same basic. And I was trying to explain to them. So tango people also use the same basic, but we call tango. Bachata kind of have a little bit here and there different, but they have. So the thing is not, we don't need to be afraid to keep in one movement. And the result is Urban Kiz is big. Why? Because Urban Kiz is the Kizomba version of Western. And you will be selling by Western without any problem, which is fine. Okay, so the meeting happened, and then between them, they decide to find the name. And we're supposed to meeting again weekend after at Feeling Festival. And I think you guys were there that time.
Yeah.
And he was there. Moon came and he told me that they decided to give the name Urban Kiz, which for me made sense at the time because urban because of the type of music they were using, and Kiz because of the influence of Kizomba. So I did the video with Moon and we posted. The moment I posted, who called me Pichu? So that moment was it felt like the Urban Kiz people were like, okay, Eddy's okay now. But then I had the Golan coming at me like, who the hell is you to do that? And blah, 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 blah. Anyway, so it became what it became. And I think the fact that it does have different name, it's, in my view, I don't think it's so important, the fact that he has keys or not. And the importance, I think, is more given by egos, because the keys there should actually be a way they show respect for where it came from. So I don't see it as a wrong thing. Urban Kiz, it doesn't matter. It could be Manuel Kiz, it could be João Kiz. As long as it's not Kizomba, I think that it's almost like it's a new dance that honoring Kizomba. This is how I see it.
Almost like in music, you have the Ghetto Zouk. They made exactly the same thing, talking about music. So it was highly influenced by urban music, by R&B. So music from the ghetto, they wanted to put it in the clubs, but was also influenced by Zouk. So naturally, they call it like Ghetto Zouk. The same happened with Kizomba also, because it was the major objective of SOS, Eduardo Paim, to be able to create music to have fun, because they were in civil war. They wanted to have their own national music being played on the parties. So they gave this name in a very, not thinking about the future. So not thinking about the kind of controversial opinions that could happen. And naturally, it was adopted by the people. Usually, I use this example as, to create new styles, it's just a question of having followers or not. How many styles do you remember that people tried to put it on the market and they didn't succeed because they didn't have followers? So Urban Kiz is the same example as Kizomba back to the 80s. Somebody called it Kizomba, and the word started being spread mouth to mouth. It comes to Portugal, and it was only Kizomba in Angola. It was not in Guinea-Bissau, in Saint Tomé, in Cape Verde, Mozambique. So it was in Lisbon that the word started being spread, and naturally was adopted by everybody. So start having followers. The same thing as Tarraxo now, with all that mess that, and I don't know if you listen this explanation. Now it makes sense for me, the Tarraxo, the word associated to that style of music, because it's not tarashu, it's tarasho. And when I listen this, it makes a lot of sense, because there was this guy that create the osteotarasho, so this kind of movement, and they wanted to put it like shorter name, so it was the tarash and o from osteo, and that's why they start calling it like that. I don't know if this is like correct, the correct story, but it makes sense, at least for me at this moment. Of course, it creates a lot of confusion because it was something that already exists, and it is very similar. But in this perspective, once again, somebody made something from the inside, something natural for that person.
But did you realize something funny about Tarasho?
What?
Once again, Western had to create something that was missing Tarashinha, upper body movement.
Upper body, exactly.
They had to have that in order to appreciate Tarashinha.
Yeah.
And another interesting fact was not created by, let's say, how can I say this? 100% Europeans. It was by Europeans with African backgrounds.
They are Western. Okay. Remember what I said? It's not about the color, it's about how where they were raised.
Exactly.
Okay?
That was the point.
People tell me, but anyway, Anna is black. No, Anna is black. Yes, of course. But culturally, Anna is Western.
Of course.
You talk with Nelson Freitas and he will tell you, he grew up his parents Cape Verde, but he grew up in Holland, listening R&B, hip hop. Even Johnny Ramos, which is already older than Nelson Freitas, it doesn't. So when you are raised in different cultures, you end up having a mix of it, which is normal. And fusion, even when we use the word fusion, many people are like, oh, you're calling me fusion. My friend, even you, Ricardo Souza, you are fusion between your father and your mother. Paula, Eddy, everybody, all of us are fusion. So when people get mad with the word, no, we live in an era where we actually need to name tag things.
Label it.
You want to be creative, just understand and name tag things.
Exactly. Yes. It's quite interesting, all of this. So let's go a little bit now to the talk, because I know that you have appointments also. You need to teach today, yeah?
But actually, I have till 12:30, because after our conversation, I believe that it would be till 12:30. But anyway.
No worries, no worries. So we need publicly to thank you by all the work that you have been done, mainly in terms of history research, because we know that you are a lover of researching, and including we worked together in a project that unfortunately I never saw the result of that. I don't know if you saw it. That was in the King's Cross College with what's her name? Ananya.
Yes.
That we went there like 2 days to London just to be part of this university project. That was there also Marisa Mormon.
It was London University, actually.
Exactly. It was you, it was us, also Iris de Brito, Pechu. So it was a very Gwenda Lima. It was a very interesting conversation that we spent there. But I don't know. I need to ask Ananya if there was any result after that research that they made, because it would be interesting to know more about that. Yeah. So, but I was saying here that you are a researcher, you do your homework, you dig more and more, you don't stay only on the top. And it's important to have people like you also sometimes to confront what is the reality, to be able to know more. It's almost like science, okay? It's an anthropologist kind of work. So you start developing your work with your ups and downs that makes part of yourself. And of course, looking back, either if you would do it in a different way, you should be proud of your path, because it make what you are nowadays. And you share some love with a lot of people that are here listening to us and saying that they are missing you, and you get your stamp and your label in our world Kizomba community. And Kizomba is a big umbrella, and being a PALOP in West countries, being able to share something that maybe you got more in love being here than if you were really on the culture.
Yeah.
And it's something that sometimes the people, the native people, don't understand. European people and Western people and people from all over the world, that sometimes they respect more their culture than the native ones, because we try to research and we try to do our best. And you know how difficult it was for me personally, being white, blonde, blue eyes. In the beginning, that the Kizomba was not spread like nowadays. So I'm talking about 99, 2000. And it was difficult to be accepted by the African community. And for me, it was like a big accomplishment when I get the respect from the community. So this to say that you felt in somehow the need to start training people under the research that you made. And that is the moment that started appearing your teachers training. Do you want to talk about that process a little bit?
Okay, yes. So the teaching training took me, honestly, 3 years. But if I'm really honest, I did not create a teaching training for people. I created a teaching training for myself. And I'll explain. So I'm doing my research and always putting something. And I always felt that there was a gap, because I would listen very often, people saying African people, they're good dancers, but they're not good teachers. And that thing always, it always affected me, because I went into dance. Initially, I wanted to please people, which is, organizer used to contact me. Oh, we want you to do a performance, do this. And they would refuse me, because I would say, look, I teach by myself. I don't do show. For those who doesn't know, till today, I don't know how to dance Afro House. So every time I go to a festival, there is Afro House. I'm the guy in the corner, like just waving my head. Anyway, so I just thought, you know what? I don't need to look like others. I don't need to be like others. I need to see what I like and try to focus on it. My father is an anthropologist. So the history thing was always through my father. And that is something I really love. My real profession is tourism management. And I only did tourism management because at the time my father was telling me to do history, and I wanted to tell my father that I have my own opinion, so I can choose things for my life, and I end up doing it without really. But my passion is really history. So I thought, you know what? I don't need to be doing show or performance. I don't need to be. I can try to be professor, because yes, there is the teaching the body movement, but there is so many things behind it that people often don't focus on it. So what I did, I focused in patterns. I decided to watch videos of the kids in Angola, but understanding that in Angola, there is also two different words, okay? People don't understand. First of all, Semba is not Angolan, okay? Semba is mainly Kimbundu, and is mainly from Luanda and the towns around. Because when you go to north, or when you go to the south, or the cities that are close to Namibia, they know nothing about Semba. The fact that Semba is actually sung in Kimbundu, and you have 23 different languages there, already tells you that it cannot be for everybody, because it's not everybody that's going to understand. But what happened is, the most of Angolans we have live in Europe, they came from Luanda. So there is only one narrative, which is Luanda, 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 Luanda. And I had to understand the whole concept. And so instead of me just focusing in the Angolans and getting information from there, I started doing research. And I learned from my father how to do research. So I think that that is one of the best tools I could get, how to do research. Do research is not going to Wikipedia. There is so many ways to do research. So one of the things that also made me move from London to Oxford was to be able to have access to their library. because once you live there and your address is from Oxford, you have access free library.
No.
And at the time, I wanted to read more about African dance. Just so you know, today, my research, I create something that nobody ever done, which is I create a new, which I don't have the name yet, but I do a research. I follow the slavery, but the effects that slavery had in music and dance. So follow the path where they came from, where they were mixed, and all those things. And it's amazing, like amazing. And that is really what I want to do more. Anyway, so I first had to understand how the Angolan society works. And I get to an idea and understanding. Even in Rwanda, you're only going to have different narratives of people explaining Kizomba, because in Rwanda is divided by Musekes, okay? And the way they live in Musekes and the so-called elite. And as example, if you watch the documentary, The Real Story of Kizomba, made by Kurandu, and you watch Minya Bande Yo, they are both talking about Semba, but there's two different realities. When in the real history of Kizomba, you see the embrace of Kizomba, the way we used to teach in beginning of 2000. The way in Kizomba, they talk about the chest, how important it is, and blah, blah. And when you go to Minya Bande Yo, the first thing they say, it's all open. No, it's open. You need to do tricks. So even inside of the society, you already have two different realities and two different narratives about the same dance. But what happened is the first Kizomba that was exported into Europe was what we call, or what I call, the Kizomba from assimilados, okay? From the elite, from the ones that went to school. And then what became popular later today in Western is the Kizomba made by Museke. All the videos from Kizomba Narua, it's all the kids from Museke. And the reality is, even when we
already highly influenced with a lot of different styles of dance also.
Yes, but you know the funny thing? The way they dance has actually more to do with African culture than the way the so-called elite dance. Because the moment we use the word classic, we don't understand, but classic is already understanding of our Western dance and the influence of Western in our society. What these kids do today, they add Kazukuta, they add Samba de Carnaval. So they're actually bringing more the roots into what they do.
Yeah, but they also mix a lot with some Latin dances, also with some from other countries, from Congo, from Nigeria, from Cameroon, and
definitely. It has a lot of influence. We also had it before. This is what people don't understand. We had more westernized folk way of dancing. The posture that sometimes we would try to. Can you ask him which dancer he liked to watch? That's gonna be for later. I do have a lot of dancers that I do appreciate, actually. But anyway, so all these things made me, when I wanted to create my teaching training, I needed to understand what is the problem. And the problem is African people, they're not bad teachers. It's just that it's almost like you speak in Portuguese and I speak Chinese, and you never heard about Chinese and I never heard about Portuguese. It's two different languages or two different ways to teach. Westerns, they are focused in teaching the dance.
And skin.
So everything is based on breaking the dance to fit with music and so on and so on. And Western, their way of teaching is you break down the tempo of the music, okay? And this is where the clash start happening, because African cannot break down the tempo of the music, because we don't really follow the tempo of music. We follow the energy of music and the feeling that the music gives us. So how can you break feeling? You can't. And this is why you see many kids there, they try to teach you by emotion, which is, I'm going to grab a girl and I'm going to do the movement with her. You're going to look and you're going to use that emotion and you're going to get to a middle ground of it. And truly, we are having a clash of different cultures. And the clash was because those Africans, they moved to Western, and Western, because they're selling to Western, the Western are expecting them to be able to talk their language. And many of those Africans, they never did the homework to understand the language and try to follow, to get to at least a balance. So what I tried to do in my teaching training was to find a balance in between Western and African. And because African is about repetition, I start creating a lot of it. And I try using, and even the way I break down the music, I actually do, you know, the signal when you have your heartbeat.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that is what I create to show people the energy when they go up and when they come down and when they are stable. And I use that to teach my students without actually counting without using their structure. And I use just basic saying, you know what? When you listen to intro, you use your first basic. When the beat comes, you use your basic 2. When the voice comes, you can travel. And I would play music, and my students would start, obviously in the beginning, some of them would miss it. But then later, I realized I start working. I would just play the music, and my own students would wait, intro, okay. Oh, beat, so we go. Oh, the voice. But there was also a way that I found out, you know what, I don't need to just make them say 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and it started working. And then I realized, you know what, the problem of teaching is not, the problem of learning is not on students. It's how the teachers teach. And what happens is many teachers, they only create one format and they expect that every human needs to understand that format. We're all different. So we can be in the same class and sometimes we say, you know what, that guy learned faster than that guy. Yes, there is natural answers. But many times it's just because we only have one formula and my formula resonates more with that guy than the other. But if I kind of switch the formula, it will maybe take to the other one. So my teaching training is based on you having 6, 7 different formulas to teach at the same time, so you can resonate to different people. I use geometry. I use a lot of you watch, I follow. I use a lot of breakdown in energy, breakdown in tempo, So I literally try to create a mix. But how I did that also, I wanted to be authentic. So I started watching the videos of kids. I contact many kids in Angola, and they were sending me videos of them doing movement. And so what I was looking Pechu, I don't know, Bonifacio, Dasmara. And when you look all of them, there is always a pattern. Even if they don't realize, all of us, we have a pattern. So what I was doing, I was taking a pattern after watching everybody video, like, okay, there is this movement, that's the pattern. So I'm going to use this movement. I'm going to learn how to break it down, and I'm going to add it to my teaching training. And then I went to the kids and I understand, okay, so they are bringing new fusion. They are changing it, but there is this movement that become to Kazukuta, this movement that become to Samba Carnival, which is people don't know, and it's so funny. When they say Samba Carnival, it's very Angolan culture. Everything that has the word carnival is European. So it's so funny how so connected we are. Carnival was created in Italy, and it was something that Europeans took with them when they went to Africa, to Asia, to America, to whatever. So every time you heard you have the word carnival, It's actually European influence. So when they say it's very traditional, it's Samba Carnival, you don't understand that you're already talking about the fusion there. But anyway, it's just that how people don't understand how connect we are. So this is how I did my structure to create my teaching training. And then I use Bloom taxonomy. I don't know if you ever heard about it.
What?
Bloom taxonomy.
Bloom taxonomy. No.
Bloom taxonomy. So Bloom taxonomy, it's something was created by David Bloom, and it's a pyramid of teaching that is very much used in America and England. And now it's start being used in many places. So Bloom taxonomy is this. Let me see if you can see. Can you see?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
So my teaching training was based in Bloom taxonomy, which is remembering. Remembering, I base my remembering is your muscle memory. Because many times for us to teach is about memory, muscle memory, not really brain memory. So you start doing repetition. After you have it on your muscle memory, then you start understanding, because then I'm going to give you pieces for you to put together. After understanding, it comes applying. After applying, it comes analyzing. After analyzing, comes evaluating, and then you go on the top of pyramid, which is creating. So my teaching training is all based on that.
Nice. It's interesting because we do kind of this, but I never heard about the Bloom taxonomy. So it's quite interesting.
Yeah.
If you actually right, let me try to see if you can. Can you see?
No, just your foot. Estás a mostrar uma mochila.
Okay, so Bloom taxonomy, it's BLOOM.
Yeah.
And if you put on Google, you will see.
Yeah, I found it.
Yes. It's very popular. So I literally base my teaching training on that.
Good. Just to share with you, in somehow this was the why we start having so much success back on the beginning of everything, because we were able to deconstruct something that was so natural to Africans. And it's again touching the same point that you were saying at the beginning, that is about the process that you are used to, the process that you're born with. And in Africa, the way that you learn is mainly by visualization, copying, and start doing it. And including, you grow up seeing your mother moving the bunda while she's cooking and while she's doing whatever. So in Europe, we have like that. So even the Latin Americans are exactly the same. And we had that difficulty here in Portugal before the Kizomba entered the dance studios. We had first the Latin music or the Latin dance in dance studios with the salsa. Salsa entered first in the studios, then the Kizomba here in Portugal. And when you talk to a Cuban and you ask, look, man, beautiful movement, how you do that? And he would answer you, I do it like this. And what the hell? How? Like this? How? And with Pechu, for example, when I start with him, it was also the same. So how do you do that? And he said, I do like this. So perfect. So as we had this difficulty and we had a system of learning with structure, with numbers, with geometry, with progressions, with breakdown, this was our major trump in the Kizomba, let's say, community, because we were able to talk the same language that the Westerns were used to listen.
Yes, I understand that. And you guys don't know, but I can reveal, because I have said that to many of my students that actually did the teaching training. You guys were one of my biggest influence when it comes to teach. And wherever I would go, I would always say, Ricardo and Paula, they are for me the best teachers in the world. Because I understand very quick that, yes, I have being African, but I need to learn the language to speak with Western. So many times we are in festivals and I would be checking your class, but obviously I wasn't checking your class to see how you dance. I was checking your class how you teach. And I used to hate you for one reason, because you are the only teacher that teach in Portuguese, French, English, Spanish, all at the same time. And I could teach in Criollo, broken Portuguese, broken English, but I don't think that people would really get it. So now this is a skill that you don't understand, but I used to think amazing. It was amazing because someone would be in your class and you'd be switching from one language to the other, and you could keep, because the most important, the problem is not switching language. The problem is keeping the fluidity. And this is what most of people don't understand. When you are teaching, it's the fluidity that actually make people be engaged. When you break in that fluidity constantly, it make people lose, because people have small spam interests. So people need to have a fluidity to keep the focus. If you stop, do something, they're already doing something. So many people don't understand that teaching, it's a science, but there is so many things, because people say, you know, charisma is enough. I know how to dance. I'm just going to break it down. That does not make you a teacher. And most of Africans are realized they base their teaching in how good you are as a dancer. And then it was very hard for them to understand why some bad dancers, in their eyes, would be very successful. It's because the moment I invite them to be a teacher.
Sorry to interrupt you. For those that are amazing dancers and want to teach, in my perspective, it's much easier if you are already a good dancer to learn skills to become a good teacher than if you are talented in terms of communication to become a good dancer. So if you are out there and everybody tell you that you are an amazing dancer and everybody wants to dance with you and you receive a lot of compliments and people asking you to teach, but you don't have the clue, it's easy for you. Go to study. You have Eddy Vents, you have ours, you have Pechu. Doesn't matter the one that you choose, but make sure that you study, because it's possible to pass to the next stage. And all of us, we start like crap. I still remember my first lessons, and I don't know till the day of today how people could pay me to learn with me, because I was bad. And everybody deserves an opportunity. The difference is what you do after with that opportunity. It's important that even when you go to the university and you come to the real world, you are not ready to work, because you learn everything in theory. And after, you need to put it in practice, learn with those that are there on the market for longer, make your mistakes, and being able after to start creating your own path. But you need this kind of tools to be able to know the language and to be able to know how to deal with the situation. So,
but you know that with me it was the opposite.
Hugo Boss is here on Instagram just talking shit.
What do you say? What do you say?
First he's saying, esse oculista está cada vez mais feio. É cromo este gajo. And then he's saying, Eddy, tell the world you stole my dance moves to start teaching.
Ok. Hugo, tem razão. Eu tenho os óculos que normalmente eu falo com as pessoas de fora e tenho os óculos de casa. Pronto.
É mais doutor, é mais doutor. Desculpe ter interrompido.
Tem que estar a ver ao longe.
Yeah. You were saying, sorry.
But yes, everything that you said is true. You know that with me was the opposite. And this is what people actually never understood. I never considered, till today, I don't even consider myself a good dancer. And this is one of the things that everybody that is my student, they're going to tell you. The first thing I say to them, I am not the best dancer, because even me, I rate a lot of other good dancers. Doesn't matter, for those who doesn't know, someone asked, is for me one of my top dancers because of the smoothness of his dance. I love Bonifacio. I love many. I don't really have like one dance. I love many dancers, for each something that they have and they can give. But one thing all my students will always tell you is that I always say to them, I don't consider myself the best dancer. I still work till today to improve my dance, but my skill I felt like was always about teaching, because my brain is all about I need to break down things to understand and blah blah. So I did the opposite. I had to break down the things and use them for me to improve. And this is why I never delete any of my videos on YouTube, because I'm the first one showing my students how bad I was in 2010 to now, but because I also want them to see that I still work every day.
Evolution.
I'm teaching for 11 years now, and I still work every day to keep improving. So I don't want them to think, oh, I learned 2 years, so I already know it all. No, you don't. And plus, you changing. And this is what I've been done. And all my students will tell you. The first thing I tell them, I'm not the best dancer. Rick is much better dancer than me. But you know what I can tell you? I'm much better teacher than them, because I was the one who taught Rico how to teach, Josie, Ada, and all those, because I create a structure that would work. And okay.
Estou-me a rir do Hugo. Ele está a dizer, I have a video of your dancing performance in London. Tens que mostrar isso.
The dance was so bad that I had to ask people not to put it on online.
My dear friend, we have here subjects to spend like hours, but we also have some family appointments now. And just to enter in the final line, and for sure we'll have opportunities to talk after, because I think you have so much things to tell. We are all the time learning with you also, and we feel honored to have this opportunity to listen to you and to be able also to learn more from you. And we need all the professionals to trade more knowledge, because knowledge is not to be kept, is to be shared, and in a way that everybody can move on. So just to finish, please tell us, if the people want to learn from you, attend your teachers training, how can they do it? How can contact you? If it is like always possible, if you open groups, tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, so teaching training, yes, but I decide to retire from the dancing.
Oh, really?
Yes, I feel like Corona was a very important open eyes. Okay. Time for me to focus on my children. Time for me to create a. I have 5. No, I'm joking. I have three.
Okay.
Oficiais, 3 oficiais.
Anyway, so I am going to always be part of the dance, but it's time for me to do what I really love, which is research. I open a channel called Pitanga Channel, where I actually did a small documentary, 5-minute, about Kizomba. And that is what I want to do. I want to be doing research. I want to write a book. So I'm always going to be in Kizomba and organizing events. What I don't want anymore, I don't want to be traveling the way I used to. And I don't want to be focused myself on wasting my time when I can organize something, because it's a really nice thing to do, but I need to take care about my retirement, and I need to take care, more important, about my children. I feel like we carry on in this life, and we're going to get to a point that we're not going to be able to leave anything for any of them, not even to take care of us. So I'm not open to do online. I'm open to do online class, but I'm not doing the regular online classes. I am doing teaching training, which I'm still doing till now. And for that, you can message me on Eddy Vents on Facebook or Instagram, Eddy Vents. Although I need to create the work to go to Instagram. It takes me a long time to go to Instagram. But that's it. Facebook is the best way for you to find me. But before you go, I need to show you something.
While you show, just to tell you that we have here on Instagram Pierre, from Venezuela sending you also hugs and saying that he attend our both teachers training. So good. Thank you very much, Pierre, for that. And you are the one that bring more profit about that kind of investment.
And it's not just that. Pierre is someone that I love because he understands that two dances, those different styles, it's just a mean to get to what you do or what you love. And he have been always learning from everybody. Even being a teacher, it shows how humble he is. I just want to show you something because, okay, so can you see this?
We cannot read, but we can see the image.
Yeah.
Okay.
Que diz? Não
Sample routine for beginners?
Yes. Okay, so let me tell you a secret. Obviously, I had people that went to your training, come to my training, and every time I finish trainings, I ask people for feedback. And some people that does all of us, they kind of do some comparing here, comparing there. And I had 3 people that did your teaching training, and they told me, oh, I love your teaching training, it's very good, but there is one thing that is missing. And I'm like, what? When we do teaching training, Ricardo and Paula teaching training, they gave us a DVD in the end, like with routines, prepare, and we feel like you're missing that. I'm like, oh God. So how am I going to do that? So I create this because of you guys. This is my DVD.
Oh.
So what I did, I thought, okay, DVD is really nice and it makes it easy. But I thought DVD, this is my opinion, doesn't mean DVD may create my students to be kind of lazy. Like, I don't know what I'm going to teach today. Let me just watch Eddy DVD. Oh, and I'm going to copy it. So what I did, because my teaching training is based in layers, layer 1, layer 2, layer 3. So each thing you see here, it's a DVD with routines. So if you go from top, middle, up, it's one routine. If you do up, middle, left is another routine. If you do right, middle, but the idea is every because you know people, they love to learn. They think that they want us to teach them what they want. So it is what I do. What I do, I understand what my student need, and what go in the middle is the movement that my student need to work. And the top or middle, the top or side is what he think he want. So he's repeating always the middle, but one here and there, he can. So each thing that like that actually give you 32 different routines. So you have 3, you multiply that, and you have all of that. And then when you start combining from here to there, so I create just from one paper like that, something that can give you almost 300 routines. And this, it was actually because all my students were like, you know, you'd be good if you have done a DVD, because after Latin Connection, they do a DVD and it looks so professional. Now, like, I don't have a professional recorder. So I'm going to be like an African, hey, with my phone, hey, routine, ooh. So I'm just going to make it on paper. And the beauty of this routine is everybody can take it and read, but they will not understand till you actually do the teaching training, until you actually understand every name there. But that was inspired by...
Pierre is saying here, that's diamond method, correct?
Yeah, that's the diamond method I created, yes.
Beautiful, it's really cool. You know that we have something like that, but we maybe allow students to be a little bit more lazy, but I don't like to think about that as them to become lazy. I like to think on a way of them to ready to start doing their mistakes, to be able to understand how to adapt. Because we like to say that we give a lot of side notes. Our training give 16 lessons ready to teach. Lesson number 1, this is the warm-up, this is the face-to-face, this is combination 1, this is combination 2, and at the end we have improvisation. So the summaries of the lesson have a structure, and we give 16 lessons ready to teach of 1 hour each. But inside of that, and that's why it's so important to have the training, because otherwise we just sell the DVD and they will have everything. We have a lot of side notes because of what you said, that each group will be different. So the amount of information to give to a group of students that are beginner 0, that never danced before, is 1. And for students that already dance salsa or bachata or have already knowledge from their body, they will be ready to listen some things about more specific techniques than those that never danced before. So it's like a baby. The babies don't go out of the mother and start running. So they need to hang out the head, down.
I do the same. On my teaching training, I also have a different way for bachata people, for tango people, for salsa people, and then see again the patterns there of mistakes they normally bring into Kizomba, and try to eradicate them from the beginning.
And then
when I say lazy, I wasn't saying obviously. I know one of the things, like I said, for me, you guys are top when it comes to teach. And the lazy is not that you're giving them something to be lazy. Is that I used almost the lazy as an excuse for me to find a formula to make it different than you.
It's really cool. It's really cool.
Yeah.
That is the major thing. So everything is invented. We just need to find our stamp that will make it different from the others. In a way that also, if someone will attend different trainings, will be able to have add-ons, to have more to add.
And this is exactly what I say to everybody. Don't think that Eddy Vents training is the training, or for Latin Connection is the training, or Pechu is the training. No, actually it's a combination of all of them that you get the training. Because what we all give you, we give you phrase. Okay, then you're going to do a book or a test or a huge test with that. But you take a little bit from Pechu, you take a little bit from Latin Connection, you take a little bit from Eddy Vents, you take a little bit from the guy from Kizomba Love. Dongala. And then it's up to you as an individual to actually take all of them and create your own stamp on it. Don't be a copycat of Afro-Latin Connection, or copycat of Eddy Vents, or a copycat of Pechu. And each of us, we have some strength that the other doesn't have, and we have some weakness. And I believe that everybody that does all of them, they will find and they'll be able to take the best of it.
You know what? For me, a teacher's training, it's mainly a lever to be able to get there faster. So it's this multiplier of efforts. You took many years to get what you have nowadays. We took many years to get what we have nowadays. We need to research, we need to dig, we need to make a lot of mistakes. So what we create with the teacher's training, it's a possibility for people, everything in the same place without the need of going here and there, have something that is already shown. So it's like, já está mastigado. It's something that is already filtered in a way that they can pick up that and immediately put it in practice, and earning years and years of research, being able to go directly to something from their own as a foundation that it works. Because your system works, because you have your students and you have your teachers that learn with you, that have results with their students in the same way that we have. We have this need because we construct a school here with many studios and with teachers trained by us, teaching under our methodology. The first one was my brother, Bruno, and at the time with Marcia, and only after Mafalda, and then Patricia, and then Melita, and now Katarina, and he got married. So as we had this need, having a method, it's a much easier way of organization and a way of communication. And there are names that we try to make it them more international, like the basics, like Jajão, like Corridinho, like Vibe. So there are other things that are local from our system. And in fact, our students, they will not know the names. This is mainly to communicate between instructors. So the major advantage of our structure is to start immediately teaching with everything you need. You just need to read the DVD. Now we don't use DVDs because they are obsolete. So we use and the dossier that give you a summary with resumes, with small videos that will give you. So it's a material ready to use there. And also, if you have a school with a team of instructors, for us it's easy. We need to travel, and we have lesson number 56. We just call Bruno or another teacher saying, look, go to the dossier, look to lesson number 56. And
you mean folder.
A folder, exactly. Now it's a folder.
Dossier for people. Oh, speaking Portuguese?
No, because it's a dossier like a PDF, but it's a dossier also in handbook, you know.
So yeah, but that you call folder.
Okay, folder. Good. Thank you.
I do the same. I also have folder, and I do exactly the same because mine is divided in layers. It's exactly the same. Like I don't need to be in the place. I can just say, you know what, which is literally, it's still all the information from here. I just need to say, look, I already taught them the bottom to top or top to bottom. So now you're going to do left, right, center, and it works.
Of course. And you know what? The biggest, how can I say, like gold discovering that we have in terms of how to keep the students interested, motivated to practice, because usually social dancers, they don't have patience to repetition, to do many times the same thing. Like a ballet dancer, he go to the bar and he do 1,000 times the same thing. A ballroom dancer go to the studio and repeat. A social dancer just want new steps and new stuff and new stuff and new stuff. So we arrange this way that we give new steps every lesson, but combining the same things that they know in different ways. So in fact, they are doing the same thing in different way. It's more or less what you have in that diagram that we call the ALC Lego system.
But you see, that is the difference. I am Eddy Vents, so I'm military. So when they come, I say, I'm not going to give you a new thing. You're going to repeat the same thing over and over and over and over.
I like to be more psychological.
I know.
So that's why we call it the Lego system. We teach small pieces of Lego that can be constructed in different ways, creating different objects at the end.
Well, this is what I do also. Obviously, I made them repeat, but then after they repeat the same fundamentals, because what I do, I develop the puzzle. And only when they understand and they have the puzzle on their muscle memory, then they start understanding how to put them together and the variation. And then I explain to them variation, the same movement. You can do 90 degrees, 120 degrees, 180 degrees, 360 degrees. So the same movement already, you already have different angles that you can do it. And
it's a new way. It's a new interpretation. Yeah. My friend, I just want to do here an invitation for all of the people that are listening to us, because we will have an event next weekend, 8 and 9 of May, that we call KTT Master Weekend, where we create 2 events in one. One is Boost Your Kizomba Teaching. So it's a 3 hours masterclass in 2 days, where it's free to enter. For those that have interest, just go there, because at the end of that masterclass, we are not here to cheat nobody. At the end of the masterclass, we will present our KTT next class. So people that attend the masterclass will receive a lot of content for free. If they like, they can enter the complete program after. And sideways, we will have another event that will be Boost Your Kizomba Dancing, where we will give lessons as complement to become a better dancer, not only as a Kizomba dancer, but generally speaking. We will have like ballet techniques for Kizomba, Afro house lessons that can be adapted the movement to Kizomba. We will teach how to construct combinations, how to follow musicality. So it's 2 events in one for those that want to improve in teaching and dancing. And dear people, follow Eddy Vents, write him on Facebook. Don't go to Instagram because he will not answer you. Go to Facebook, Eddy Vents, write him, and enjoy the amazing amount of information that you have to share with you.
If you want people to never had Afro House class with you, you can invite me to teach Afro House in your class.
For example, I'm not an Afro House dancer. I don't consider an Afro House dancer. It's the first thing that I say every time we teach Afro House lessons. We are not Afro House dancers and we suck. But as we try to improve on that, we feel our Kizomba and our Samba improving also. Every time I try to improve Afro solo dances, my couple dances improve also. So that's why we do it as a self-training, and also in a way that the people will not feel so back, because if they see an amazing dancer, they can be like, oh my God, I will never do like that. Looking to us, they say, okay, I can do like that. So they can improve also.
Okay, good idea. I believe that my way, everybody can do. Or maybe, no, maybe people be like, okay, that is how not to do it.
Exactly. My dear friend, thank you for your generosity.
Thank you for your invitation.
Hope we can talk again and dive more deep in some of the subjects that you are doing. Wish you all the best for your project. I hope to buy your book and to buy your documentary soon, because it's the kind of information that I like to study. So
thank you very much. And I really wish you guys all the best. One thing, you are very good in what you do. Send a big hug to your brother. I love your brother. Every time I talk a lot. You guys know that. Your brother also does talk. So every time we are in a festival, we spend almost the time together. And for Katarina also, and Paula, nice to see you. Ricardo, thank you.
Thank you very much.
E viva Porto, pá, viva Porto!
Caralho. Amigo, grande abraço, tudo bom?
Beijinhos.
Thank you all that were here, using your time to listen to us. Stay safe, stay good, and hope to see you soon. Ciao, ciao.